is the person that believes they're never going to win one with Josh Allen? Even their biggest doubters. Is there somebody? There have been years where they've been doubted in a season, or maybe the coach has been doubted. Maybe that's the thing, that there's doubt about individuals. That, well, Sean McDermott, he'll never win a Super Bowl as the coach, or Bean will never win the Super Bowl as the general manager. But who believes that in the whole course of Josh Allen's career they won't win one? Who would bet that they don't? Because most people that I talk to and most people that I listen to are always talking like it would be incredible if they don't win one.
Yeah. I don't think anybody that has a good handle on the league thinks that they can't do it. Like that they're not good enough to
or that
do
they
it.
won't do it.
Right,
Like,
or even that they won't. Exactly.
Right.
I think there are definitely, like you said, people that doubt aspects of the team, like theories of the team, like whether McDermott can do it, like you said, or whether the everybody eats thing is really good enough to get you there. I think we've seen that it is at this point, for the most part.
I guess the person that really might say right now, trying to figure out who would this be? Who would be the person that would say they will not win one? It might be the Bills fan that thinks it won't happen with McDermott. That Sean McDermott has some fatal flaw as a game manager or as a defensive play caller, and that we've seen that enough to know that it won't happen with that guy. And then if you combine that idea with another idea that they will never move on from Sean McDermott, because I don't believe they will, unless the quarterback wants them to. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think at any time in the near future you're going to have a different head coach. So I guess that's the person that would think it, right? The person that thinks that guy can't win it and that guy's going to be the coach for the rest of Josh Allen's career.
So therefore,
that person, therefore, would, I think, be the rare individual that doesn't think they're going to win one.
Doesn't that person also believe, though, that they will fire him? Do you think that
I don't know.
Or do you think that they're reserved to, or like they've written off that possibility?
I guess I just don't know how you could think they're gonna ever do it. Ever is strong.
I don't know.
Maybe in 6 years.
But
like anytime soon, I just don't. Again, I personally don't believe it would ever happen unless Josh Allen did it. And maybe I should leave some room for there is a future down the road where Allen could say to ownership or management, whoever, like I've had enough. Like right. Not even anything negative towards McDermott, just I'd like to try it with a different guy before I'm done playing. He's 29 right now. He's approaching his 30th birthday. If he's 32 and it still hasn't happened, would it be insane for him to think, I'm 32 years old. I've done this for a decade with this guy, and he's been great, but maybe I'd like to try it with a different guy before I'm done here. Like, right. I don't think that would be crazy. We saw Rodgers and Brady turn heel is the phrase in my mind. Rodgers did that more so. What am I thinking? They took the power a little bit more. They had the power sitting there in front of them. And for much of their careers, Brady and Rodgers didn't reach out and take it. They didn't. Brady has told stories, and there have been stories told that Belichick would lay into him, and it was not necessarily an enjoyable experience for him. And he was always treated like, it'd be harder on Brady than some of the other guys, but that there was a point in time where he felt like, I've earned being treated like more than just 1/11th. But right. This guy won't give it to me. This guy won't give me the not even just the credit, but the respect of, I'm Tom Brady, I've won 5 Super Bowls, and this guy's still treating me like I'm a rookie in 2001. But eventually, he reached out and he took that power and said, I'm leaving. And even before that, it sounded like he maybe tried to use it to stay in New England with a different coach in the Seth Weckersham book. So eventually Brady did do it, but it took till his mid-30s. Rodgers, a little earlier than that, right? His early 30s, where with McCarthy, it's like this guy, we're having team meetings down in the locker room, and he's upstairs doing whatever, just taking naps while this is happening. Like, come on, let's get serious here. And I think in part he helped get Green Bay onto a different coach.
Right.
So eventually those guys did get there, but it took them a while, and it took, for Rodgers more so, it took years of not winning. And for Allen, is there a time where he would do that same thing? Like, I think that power to kind of dictate what your franchise does is sitting there for Josh Allen. And really, other than maybe steering them towards Keon Coleman and Dalton Kincaid, because I think he did help do that in the draft process, steered them towards those two. Other than that, I don't really feel like Allen has been the type of guy to reach out, grab that power, and kind of steer the whole organizational game plan here.
We definitely haven't heard or seen anything to indicate that. It's possible that behind the scenes he's more involved than we know.
It's also possible he would do it, but he feels very comfortable and very, confident in, McDermott being the right guy and Bean being the right general manager and the moves being the right. Like, he could feel very confident they are doing the right things. He would take that power if he thought things were a disaster, but how could you argue things are a disaster other than they just can't beat the Chiefs?
Exactly. That's exactly the point. Like, he very well could be confident and comfortable enough to go take that and say something, but he doesn't have anything to say right now. Because they're good, and they've been good. And they've just got to figure out this one thing that he feels, I would imagine, is as much on him to do as anybody else, if not more on him than anybody else. So what am I going to... I don't have a problem right now.
Yeah.
Maybe if it happens again, then it starts to creep in, and you're like, it gets introspective. Is there something else going on here that I can influence in some way that will give us a better shot? I would think that he's probably, at this point, with the career he's had so far and all that he represents, he's 100% aware of his ability to do that. And I think he would be comfortable in it. It's just he's not at that point. And I'm maybe a little more prepared for that to come than you are with McDermott in terms of them moving off of it. I think there's a possibility and a way that things work out that as soon as maybe this year, things similarly struggle. I mean, let's run through this a little bit here. If this year, this is obviously hypothetical, it's not likely, I am confident that this is not going to be how it goes. But let's say this year happens and that defense does not improve after all the investments made.
Yep.
And that defense does cost them a couple of regular season games that maybe cost them the 1 seed. And then you get into the playoffs and they face the same sort of turmoil in those moments. And there's another moment where that defense costs you a championship run with Josh Allen.
Yep.
I can see somebody over there going, you know what? We've given this a lot of grace here. We've given them a lot of time. They've been great. We acknowledge that. Yeah. But this is not where we are supposed to be. I could see that decision being made over there from somebody.
I guess if it did get made, it would catch everybody off guard whenever it happened. Like, the idea that it would be on the table for a long time, like a build-up to it. Like, that's how the Sabres are usually, right? Like, 2 years ago, you might have still been a little bit surprised, but as they're on their way to missing the playoffs for the 13th year in a row, it's months of, they're going to fire Granato? You think they're going to fire Granato? Right? Like, wondering that, but there was a lot of conversation kind of building up to that. I feel like if it ever did happen with McDermott and Bean, it would just kind of happen.
Right.
I'm a Denver Nuggets fan, and they won the championship 2 years ago. And this year, this is a little tough an example because they did it such a weird time. They did it like a week before the playoffs. But everybody got caught off guard. Like 2 years ago, they win the championship. They fire the coach and GM. This year, that had built that team and won that championship. Bang, they're gone. No lead up to it at all. No guessing that like this could be on the table. Like just bang, there they are. They're out. And if it did ever happen here, I think that's typically how it would be more. You're right though. Like I am not thinking at all about it. Like, and I'm not even sure I want it to happen. At least on the coach front, I just don't know. I think the only bad point I ever hear about moving on from McDermott is, well, who are you going to get? Because I do think with Josh Allen at quarterback, you could get almost anybody you want.
Right.
But not everybody you want, because I do think McDermott is a very, very good coach. I think he has progressed in a lot of ways. Like the things that might have been his weaknesses early on in his coaching career, I think have gotten a lot better. I think game management-wise, fourth down decision-making, I think the ability to kind of steer the offense in the right direction, even if it's the coordinator that's really, doing the dirty work on that. I've liked a lot of what McDermott's done. There are only a couple of like active head coaches in the league I'd want to replace him with.
Right.
And like, again, on one hand, maybe I could count with that. Kevin O'Connell. I love Kevin O'Connell. And him being an offensive-minded coach is a bonus for me. Like that's the type that I would want. But why is he leaving Minnesota?
Yeah.
He just signed a contract extension. So McVay, LaFleur, it would have to be one of those elite offensive play callers. And those couple guys aren't coming available.
Right.
So unless somebody like that was out there, like say
Yes.
it's not gonna be O'Connell. Who could Shanahan? Say the Niners have like back-to-back horrific years, and for whatever reason, Shanahan and the organization like split, and he becomes available. That's a guy where I'm going to be like, I'm going to want to do that. But it would take something on that level. And for me personally, it would have to be like an offensive genius type of guy like a Shanahan. Otherwise, I don't need to see them fire Sean McDermott now or anytime soon. And different from you, I don't think it is close at all. Like anywhere near happening in years.
Yeah, I don't think it's close. I just think
you think it's more possible than
I wouldn't be beside myself if things go the way that I laid out there, if that happened. If things took a downturn defensively, or not a downturn, stayed what they were last year defensively, I think then it becomes a real conversation. If you combine that with another playoffs where there's a moment and it doesn't happen, I think I could see them getting to that point.
And that's why, to kind of where this whole conversation started about like who really does doubt them. Like there isn't that right now. Most people believe they will win one. That's kind of the other reason why I just don't think it will ever get to that point, because I still think they're going to win one. I think they are. I think it's more likely that they are going to win one before we ever even get to a head on this whole thing where, like, does Josh Allen need to grab the reins and shake the team and decide, like, okay, we got to do something different here? I think it's more likely they win one before that ever happens. And maybe it's this year. I think it's set up really, really well for them.